are we all doing? It's nice to be back, and it's nice to have you back. Thanks for joining me. I want to say a big thank you to my international fans, especially Spain. I never saw this coming. Belgium was massively in the lead. Spain has come from nowhere and just took it. Muchos gracias. T-Nucks on tour.
Up the T-Nucks!
And here we are at the beautiful Tyram Lakes, full of absolutely massive carp. I've drawn peg 30. I'm in the shallow end, and I can't wait to get started. Just look how beautiful it is. So, the pre-match plan. My idea was go with pellet waggler, slapping up in the water, try and get what you can, then last couple of hours down the margin. However, it's really, really windy. So as I sit down, I realise the pre-match plan is not going to be the plan. So I'm going to opt for 2 lines, top kit plus 3 and the margin. Let's see how we get on. So I've gone for a yellow T-nut pencil float, 0.7. I've got 8 number 8s in a bulk, 1 number 8 under the float and 2 number 10 droppers between the hook and the bulk shot. So the plan was to try and catch skimmers on this line because I know the skimmers are really big in here. Usually I put a big cup of micros in, leave it 15 minutes, then go over it with a pellet and see what's there. However, today I had a feeling to not big cup, just put a cad cup on, a few 4mm in and put a 4mm on the actual band. I don't usually fish a 4mm on the band, but I'd fished at Lodge Farm a few days before this match and I was catching really well on a 4mm pellet, so I thought I'd try it here. So how it started is I got a little skimmer, then I got a bigger skimmer which I was happy with, and then I hit 3 carp on the trot. I couldn't believe it, to be honest. So quite a big carp and a 4mm pellet is absolutely tiny, so why change what's working? I've stuck with it. Now I know that there is carp there, I have started to put more pellets in the cad cup because, you know, they will gobble up those pellets really quick, and I want to keep them there. They usually hang around in big groups and I want to keep them there and get as many out as possible. So here's another little look at the float. What a beautiful float that is. I love pencil floats. It's not very deep, there's normally a lot more water in it, but obviously with the heat we've had. And there we go, I've put half a cup in because that's my 4th carp I've had now out on that line, and it's just full of carp. There's no skimmers there, it's just absolutely solid with carp. So they're really, really good bites. I'm on this stuff, the Solid Core Hybrid Elastic. I'm on a 12 to 14 on this one. It's a red one. That's just an example picture. It will stretch really far. It will stretch to those trees that are falling in the water over there if I really want it to, and I have to be mindful of that. So because there's only 7 of us in this club match today, there's normally 12 of us, but they're away on another fishing trip, a lot of them. I've got a lot of room, so I can get away with having a lighter elastic. So if I can get away with a lighter elastic, I'll always pick that, because I do believe that fish don't fight as hard when you're on a lighter elastic, and the fish in here are absolutely massive. And the last thing I want them to do is start trying to rip my arm off, because I could risk breaking tackle, I could risk smashing my poling off, to be honest. There really are big fish in here. So if I go for the lighter stuff, they're going to play ball a bit more, and I'm going to have a better chance of getting them out, even if the foul looks and stuff like that. So while I'm playing this fish, if you are enjoying the video so far and you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free and I don't want you to miss any of my future videos. Also, you know I love a like. If I get 200 likes for this video, I will return and do you another video. Thank you. So the fish here do fight really, really hard. And they're absolutely massive, as I've said. And look at this beaut. What a stunning fish on a 4mm hard pellet. Can't get my head around it. An absolute beaut. So I'm on a 16 Cajun, you know we do this every video, hook. Amazingly strong. I mean, I can't believe these. They look quite fine, but they can get out an absolutely massive fish. So here we go. Half an hour before I go down the margin, I pre-bait it. So the famous yellow bowl. It's just a load of micros covered in water, over soaked. You just leave them, never drain the water. Get the pellets you want. They will stay as a single pellet. They don't turn into mush like you all think, but you have to leave them in the water. So I'm going to put 3 big cups in. That's how I like to pre-bait my margin before I go down it. So that's the first one. That's the second one. I'm using a marker, which is one of the peg legs in the foreground there. So I know exactly where to put my float. Now I've picked to go further out because it is quite shallow and it's a much colder day. I didn't feel like the fish would come really close into the edge, and the water is quite clear here. So I've gone into a bit of a deeper water where it's not going to be as clear. They're not going to be afraid of my pole being over them, and they're more than likely going to come in for those micros and feel a lot safer. So I'm going to leave that now for a good half an hour before I go into it. That's just to get it ready, get it cooking. However, if I do see any signs, so undercurrent, tails coming out, any signs of fish there, I will go in earlier. As soon as you see a sign, you go straight in. But while I've left that to prepare, I'm straight back out on my top kit plus 3 line. I've actually switched to an 8mm now. So because I know it is just carp there, I were hoping if I go to the 8mm, I'll get a quicker bite. And it did, it worked, to be honest. It just stands out a bit more in the crowd with those 4mm that I'm feeding. I have done a lot of editing on these videos because, oh, there we go, that's how windy it is. It's blown my top kit in. Luckily, I had an hole in my landing net, and I don't know how I managed to get that through the hole in one go. I mean, that was quite amazing. But I do manage to rescue that and play the fish all at the same time. So any women out there that think men can't do 2 things at once, that's proof that we absolutely can. They just, having you on. But yeah, I'm really pulling on these fish, but you just don't stop. Don't get me wrong, it is a soft-ish elastic, but still, the power in these fish at Tyram Lakes is amazing. If you've never fished it before, I would definitely recommend it. This is the lake next to the cafe. They've got quite a few lakes here, some specimen lakes as well. But this is like the match lake, full of massive bream. I got a lovely tension this match as well. And look at these carp. Stunning. So still sticking with the cad cup, I have not put any big cups at all on this line. I've just kept it to the 4mm cad cup, and these fish just kept queuing up. Some of them were up. I mean, look at this one. He's trying to get to that tree that's in the water at the very far side, and that is probably about 30 meters away. That's how far this elastic will stretch. It's good stuff. Now, what I'm doing now is lifting the pole up because I can feel it bottoming out the elastic. I'm lifting the pole up to hopefully get it to change direction. And it works. I had a lesson with Jamie Hughes. He did it in the lesson when he had this exact same scenario, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it work. And ever since I've done it, they always turn round. The only time they will not turn round is if you foul hook them in the tail, and obviously you've not got control of them anyway. So that could be sayonara at that point. But if they're in the mouth and you pull that pole up, aim to the sky, they will turn around. And these fish are big, so it's important that you just brave, trust your gear, trust your line. I mean, I'm on a 0.17 bottom with this 16 Kaiser nut. I've got a 0.20 main line, 0.7 pencil. Everything's pretty tough and sturdy. And this is good elastic. The top kit can handle it all. You just got to be brave, hold on, and do the best you can to get it out as fast as you can, really. Look at the size of that. No wonder it tried to get round that island. It's absolutely huge. I mean, that's a margin fish, and I'm catching it out in front. What a beast that is. I could probably get half a fist in that. Huge. Simply lovely. So it's been 30 minutes. It's time to rest the top kit plus 3 line. Straight down the margin. Let's see what's there. I've gone on a 8mm soft pellet for the margin. I've not fed anything else. It was just those 3 cups I put in half an hour before. I don't have a cad cup on this top kit. I mean, 3 cups of micros is a lot of bait. And I want to get a bite as quick as I can, so I'm not going to be adding anything extra until I'm confident that it needs more, basically. So this is the same elastic brand, but this is the 14 to 16. It's about as big as I'll go into a pole elastic. I do have the 18 to 20 that I showed you in that picture, but I will only be saving that when I'm next to snags and stuff like that, and it's going to be set tight, and it's just for dragging fish out of areas where I can't have a lot of elastic coming out, otherwise they're going to get in snags and stuff like that. But for everything else, it will always be a 14 to 16 or a 15 black hydro. I don't usually go any higher than that. So not a bad fish, not quite as big as the last one that I just started out on the top kit plus 3, but it's a good start. So I'm going to put a big cup in purely because the fish wasn't that big. I'm a big believer that big fish are really greedy and they hang around in big groups, and I was expecting to get something a bit bigger than that. So this is another little look at what float I've got. It's a T-Nook margin float. I've got an heavier one on this one. I've actually gone for a 0.8, and I've got 10 number 8 strung out, 1 under the float, and then 9 strung out all the way up to the hook link. It's a very tough float. It will not break. Got a 12 hook, Guru extra strong. Love that setup. This is another look at the little looker I've got. I love these. They're awesome on a bomb as well. You'll see them in loads of my videos, especially in a margin. They are a go-to because you can strike and strike and strike and they will not come off, which is what you want. If you miss a bite, you want to be straight back in. So them pellets are a must in your kit. It's just one of those baits where I'm just confident no matter where I go, I'm going to catch on it. If there's a carp there, they're going to gobble it up. It's bright yellow like a piece of corn. It's quite tough to hook at first. You think, God, these are a bit hard, these soft hookers. But when they're in the water, they really do soften up. But they grip quite well on the hook, and that's why you can strike and strike and strike and not strike them off. And that's why you can also use them on a bomb, and they won't come off. Throw them as far as you like, they will not come off. They're absolutely amazing. Get some if you don't have some. So this fish is really pulling. It looks decent. As that big cup drawn me in a unit, the kind of unit I'm looking for, because the margin is where you win your match. End of. In any match, I don't care. If someone could have no fish in it last hour, get a margin with massive fish in it and win. It's just as simple as that. Your margin fish are your most important. So if you can get some units, they can really get you in front. And this fish is really fighting, so it's looking like that big cup did the trick. There is some method in the madness, it turns out. I mean, I've got a lot of elastic. You can see it there. Loads of elastic pulled out. And it still looks like it's stretching loads out. It's just huge fish. And I've pulled and pulled and pulled to try and get his head up. Because I've got a strong hook, strong line, strong elastic, you can give him a bit more if you're confident you've got him in the mouth. But this fish were just having none of it. Even in the net he's trying to beat me up. What an absolutely stunning common. Notoriously aggressive fish. But absolutely stunning. Anything but common. Straight down the margin, no feed in a big cup, that's the big fish I'm looking for. So I've just said I'm confident they're in groups when they turn up. Is this going to be another absolute unit? I mean, it's taking off well. It's looking like it. It's a little bit like squeaky bum time, you know, when you see them absolutely take off. Because you think, if this is in the mouth, it's huge. So look, that fish is actually, that was pulling the pole out of my hand then. So I've had to add a few more sections to this. She's really going for it. Stuck the pole up, I've managed to turn it around. Is it going to be a monster from the deep? Come on, Babby, get your head up. And it's fighting like it's an absolute bruiser. And the amazing thing is, I've edited these videos down. That's how hard and how long these fish were fighting for. And it's not like I was trying to teach him how to swim. I mean, I was really trying to get him out as quick as I could. Because when you've got big fish in your margin, you don't want to be having loads of time playing fish. You want to get in and get them out as quick as possible. Because that's how you win your match from being far behind. I mean, Steve to my left, he's been using the bomb to the island. He's caught very regular. Not quite as large a fish as mine, but he's been catching just as regular as me. And I'm mindful of that. Steve won the match here last year. So it's not a bad fish. Not quite as big as the last one, but decent stamp. Straight back in again. Because again, it's about speed. The more you put in, the longer you're likely to wait for a bite. If there's a group there, let's see what they are. Let's see what let's see what size they are. So we've seen it pulling the pole through my hands. It's really pulling this fish. I've had to point the pole up again, trying to turn it around. It's really going for it. I did suspect it might be foul. Look, this fish did really pull. So that's pretty much bottomed out the pole. I mean, the pole is bending like a quiver tip now. That's never a sign that you want to see on your fishing pole. But, like I said, I'm confident in my gear. This mat pole is pretty strong. But that is pulling and pulling and pulling. I was worried it were trying to get around one of the legs on the platform. These big fish are smart. There's a reason why they get big. And if they can snag you up on anything, they'll do it. So you have to be mindful of that. So I'm constantly lifting that pole up, trying to turn him, trying to, break his heart, really. If you do that, if you make them realise they're not going to get to where they're wanting to get to often, they'll kind of give up on it and change direction. So I've managed to turn it, and even at this point he's trying to get down the left hand side, trying to find snags. And that is an absolute unit. I mean, fish for fish, these have got to be some of the biggest fish I've had this year. Short and chunky. Epic fight. Let's see how we did.
One separate for them, didn't we? The first few fish. Yeah, I lost a lot of fish today. All up 4. Top kit +3 on a 4mm pellet.
I said 120. Might have more than that, eh?
Oh, they're big fish, aren't they? Can't get them out. They're just massive. Everything I got was just right big.
Alright, yeah. Tyram.
Yeah, I'll put some in.
One in there.
Yeah, they usually have it at 66.
No, the extra, yeah.
Yeah.
17,
Yeah, that'll be alright then, yeah. Because it's good for 66.
So the net limit here is £70 per net. The scales only went up to 66. I ended up having 68 in that net. So before anyone pipes up, I wasn't over the net limit.
Nice tinge.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah. Nearly brought me pole that way.
Right.
Nearly tearing it away him. No. What a nice net of fish. Whew. Simply lovely. God, humble. Proper dogs them. That tench.
I caught a really nice tench on the top kit +3 line, putting on a bit of a show for us before he goes, spin out and everything. What a stunning fish they are.
Thank you. Ten. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Margin save, mate. $79.11. I bet there'd have been a few there. They've all been good fish, haven't they, today? There's been some right bangers. I bet he's got 46 pound here. But has got 46 pound this. Oh, close.
So there we have it. I've managed to get the win with £131 and 10 ounces. This time last year on the same venue, I think I had about £30. Came near last. I was not a happy bunny. And to be honest, the peg I've had today was only probably a peg away from where we were last year. So went with a different plan and ended up changing that plan again. I mean, you must always have a backup, and it worked out. But well done to Steve. We pushed each other. He's done £79.11 for second place. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Well, we know what I wanted to do, slap in pellet waggler. However, like match fishing is and weather conditions and everything else, you've got to have a plan B. And I kept it comfortable. Fished on deck, didn't overfeed, found out what was there first. Really, really happy. Wouldn't change a thing on what I did when I had to. I thought I fed it perfectly, used the right baits, right hooks, right elastics. I'm dead chuffed. If you would like to donate to my channel, it does help me with baits, fees, equipment, stuff like that. Go onto this page, coffee.com/PaulWilkinsonTV. Click the donate button and give what you can. It really does help. I will leave a link in the description below. Also, if you would like to use any of the floats you see in any of my videos, go onto Facebook, like the Teen Up Pole Floats page. I'll approve it. We post daily. We include delivery as well. It's normally £1.35 per float unless we specify a different costing depending on what kind of float you're looking for. And yeah, cheap as chips. I mean, in the shop, a float's about £2.50 now. What have you got to lose? You might really fall in love with them like I have. So hopefully, I'll see you there soon. But until then, tight lines and sithy.
Hello, your call cannot be taken at the moment, so please leave your message after the tone.